A fresh wave of nuclear anxiety triggered after Russia once again flexed its nuclear muscle, this time with a weapon that Moscow claims no defense system on Earth can stop. And feeling the tremors of nuclear threats, Europe appears to be rethinking its nuclear security. Russian President Vladimir Putin announced that Russia has successfully tested the world's first nuclear-powered cruise missile. According to Russia, the missile flew 14,000 kilometers over a span of 15 hours, making it one of the longest recorded test flights for any missile in modern warfare. Moscow says this new missile has an almost unlimited range and unpredictable flight path, making it invincible to current and even future missile defense systems. Also, Putin said the decisive tests are now complete and the weapon is moving closer to deployment.
And now the decisive tests are complete. A great deal of work remains to be done to put these weapons on combat alert. That's clear. All the regulations need to be met. Nevertheless, the key objectives have now been achieved.
Now, this development coming amid reports that Britain and Germany are now under growing pressure to forge a new nuclear sharing pact in response to what the defense chiefs call a critical and unprecedented threat from Moscow. In London, former defense officials and NATO leaders have reportedly urged the British Prime Minister to open direct talks with the German Chancellor over the possibility of stationing British nuclear weapons on German soil. Merz, remember, has already been in strategic discussions with the French president about tapping into France's own nuclear deterrent, and he has reportedly hinted that he is open to a similar arrangement with the United Kingdom. Now, at present, only France and the UK possess nuclear weapons in Western Europe. France maintains roughly 300 warheads capable of being launched from submarines or aircraft, while the UK controls around 250 nuclear warheads. Germany is not alone in rethinking its defenses, in fact. Earlier this year itself, Poland said that it wants its own nuclear shield. The Polish Prime Minister, in fact, had said that Warsaw is talking seriously with Paris about being protected by the French nuclear umbrella. And just days later, the Polish president publicly called on Washington to consider deploying American nuclear weapons on Polish territory. Across Russia and Ukraine, the war continues. According to local authorities, an overnight Ukrainian drone attack killed at least 2 and injured 1 person in Russian-controlled Donetsk, while Moscow's mayor has said that more than 30 Ukrainian drones were shot down. With explosions heard across the city's suburbs, Kiev is also claiming to have destroyed a Russian missile system worth $45 million, even as fierce fighting continues in Ukraine's Kupiansk. Meanwhile, the US president called the Russian missile test not appropriate.
I don't think it's an appropriate thing for Putin to be saying either, by the way. He ought to get the war ended, a war that should have taken 1 week. Is now in its soon 4th year. That's what he ought to do instead of testing missiles.
And reacting to Trump's comment, the Kremlin said, testing the new nuclear-capable missile will not strain the relations with Washington, while making it clear that Russia is guided by its own national interests. And throughout the 4-year war, these interests appear to become the focus point across different timelines in this war. Back in August, Putin, remember, confirmed that Russia had started the production of the Burevestnik hypersonic missiles, with plans to deploy them to Belarus later this year. Remember, Russia first used the Burevestnik, which is Russian for hazelnut tree, against Ukraine in November last year when it fired the missile in Ukraine's Dnipro. The testing of the latest missile, perhaps, marking another milestone in that direction. A clear message from Moscow that Russia intends to stay ahead in the nuclear race, regardless of any Western sanctions or threats. And for Europe, the message appears to be even clearer. The continent that once believed the Cold War was long over is now debating nuclear deterrence all over again, frantically seeking protection under a shield that it thought it would never need to raise again. A high-profile case to hit French court this week as 10 people accused of launching a sexist and defamatory online campaign against France's First Lady will go to trial. The case stems from years of baseless rumors about her gender. This theory has targeted the French presidential couple since Emmanuel Macron took office. In fact, the 10 defendants, which consists of 8 men, 2 women, are facing charges of cyber harassment and sexist abuse. According to the French prosecutors, they posted and shared malicious comments and false claims about the First Lady's gender and sexuality. If convicted, the accused could face up to 2 years in prison. 2 of the 10 accused have been identified as a 41-year-old publicist and a 51-year-old self-proclaimed spiritual medium who uses the pseudonym Amandine Roy. The controversy tracing back to 2021 when Delphine reportedly hosted a 4-hour YouTube interview with a blogger claiming that the First Lady had once been a man. The allegation was quickly debunked but spread widely across far-right and conspiracy networks in France and beyond. The First Lady filed her complaint in August 2024, prompting a police investigation that led to arrests in December and February. Initially, both women were ordered to pay damages to the First Lady and her brother. However, that ruling was later overturned on appeal. The rumor has crossed borders, finding new life in the United States, where debates over gender and identity have become part of a wider culture war. In July this year, Brigitte and Emmanuel Macron filed a defamation lawsuit in the US against conservative commentator Candace Owens. Owens had reportedly produced an online series repeating the claims allegedly. Their US lawyer says the couple intends to present scientific evidence and photographs to prove the allegations are entirely false. For France's First Lady, this is not just about defending her reputation. It is about confronting the darker side of social media in a way where rumors and perhaps political agendas collide. The hearings are expected to continue through the week. Even as Israel pauses the fighting in Gaza, a new plan for the Palestinian enclave is quietly taking shape. Israel is reportedly backing several local Palestinian militias with a single goal: to crush Hamas once and for all. 4 anti-Hamas armed groups inside Gaza are reportedly receiving direct support from Israel. These militias describe themselves as partners in a joint mission and what they call as the New Gaza Project, aimed at removing Hamas from power and replacing it with a new administration. All 4 groups operate behind what is called the Yellow Line, the boundary marking Israeli troop deployment zones under the Gaza ceasefire agreement. Their bases reportedly lie in areas still under Israeli control. One militia leader, Hossam al-Astal, says his fighters are working together with other groups led by Yasser Abu Shabab, Rami Halas and Ashraf al-Mansi. He told Sky News that they are united under one banner and will soon achieve full control of the Gaza Strip. Al-Astal, once pursued by Hamas for his ties to the Palestinian Authority, says he escaped prison when war erupted. His group now reportedly purchases weapons from ex-Hamas fighters on the black market, while vehicles and ammunition reach them through the Kerem Shalom border, reportedly coordinated with the Israeli military. Militias in northern Gaza, including one led by Rami Halas, are also reportedly receiving indirect support from Israel through the Coordination Office, a branch of the Israeli Defense Ministry that also includes officials from the Palestinian Authority. Al-Astal admits that some of his members are still on the Palestinian Authority's payroll. While the Palestinian Authority denies any involvement, Al-Astal says they cannot publicly acknowledge links to Israel-backed groups, reportedly, and reports also indicating foreign involvement. Sky News found militia leaders photographed beside vehicles with UAE license plates, and their logos closely resemble those used by UAE-backed forces in Yemen reportedly. The Palestinian militia group saying that the ultimate plan, the new Gaza, envisions a post-war territory without Hamas and without conflict. The IDF reportedly declined to comment on these revelations. Hamas, the Palestinian Authority, and Israel's Border Coordination Agency also offered no response, reportedly. And this development signals a major shift from open warfare to proxy control, as Israel backs local forces to shape Gaza's future long after the ceasefire. It's important to note that various governments led by the Israeli Prime Minister had previously backed Hamas, remember, against the Palestinian Authority, with the goal of preventing the Palestinian Authority's West Bank government from advancing towards the establishment of a Palestinian state. And in this quest, Hamas was upgraded from a mere armed group to a full-fledged organization. And the rest is history. To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.